Hi everyone, today I am going to hand cut a fused glass puddle cabochon, mainly so I can show you why I actually cut these things by hand. Welcome to Rocket Rose Art, my name is Jeff. A couple of things before we get into this video. Just obviously if you liked the video at the end of it and it's been of some value and you would like to see more, please subscribe and turn on the notifications, hit the like button and share it to whoever you think it'll help. The other thing is recently I put a post on one of the fused glass groups on Facebook and asked for some feedback as to whether my videos were any good and whether they were of help. Now I got so many replies, I was a bit overwhelmed. I think I've answered everybody and I have to sincerely thank everybody that got back to me with their opinions. I will certainly be taking some of those suggestions on board and I hope you'll see the changes in the future videos. Now with this video, talking about the suitability for fused glass kilns or microwave kilns, well, the only thing you're going to do as a kiln is fire polish on the end, and that can be done in either kilns. It won't be a problem in a microwave kiln. Just make sure you keep a good check on it and don't overfuse it and turn it into another puddle. So in this video I'm going to be grinding a puddle cabochon I've already made into a nice oval shape. And you might ask why I'm going to do that. The main reason is that I want to set it into a more standard bezel setting, and there's two things. One is it's the wrong shape. The other one is that the sides of the bezel are just too high. Sorry, the sides of the cabochon are just too high for the bezel I want to use. So I need to reduce the sides of the cabochon to fit the bezel. So that's the primary reasons why I'm hand cutting cabochons and why you'll see a lot of videos here where I'm doing that. Now the video doesn't have a lot of steps in it. It is basically just the cutting process and the final fire polish at the end. So at the end of this video I'll be showing you the final polished cab that I cut, and I'll compare it to a puddle cab that hasn't been cut so you can see just exactly why I'm doing this. So talking about equipment for this project, you do need some way of grinding these cabs. I use diamond wheels. You could use other things like sandpaper or a spindle wheel or even a flat lap, but I think you'll find that they're not really practical and they're difficult to work with, especially when it comes to rounding off your cabochons. Very hard to look down on a flat lap to really get that nice dome shape. So when it comes to the design of this cab, there's not a lot to do. You've obviously picked out the puddle cabochon you want to use. So just look at the pattern on the cab and select the area that you want to appear in the final cab. And then if you've got a template, select the right size oval or whatever shape it is you're cutting, maybe a round to suit your bezel, and then mark it in the appropriate position. So that's about it as far as design is concerned. The glass I use in all of my projects is Bullseye 90 COE, which is the coefficient of expansion if you're not familiar with that. And this will be fire polished on the shelf, and that shelf will be sprayed with a boron nitride spray. We'll get onto the cutting now. Now I did have some comments about me talking while I'm cutting glass, or in this case grinding and cutting a cab. I will talk over the video where necessary, just to keep you up to date on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So this is the cabochon I'm going to cut. It's quite nice, but I just would like it to be a better oval shape. So I'm just going to turn it into a nicer oval shape. Just get some water on here. There we go. first step in achieving that oval shape, right, is to just grind it down bit by bit until we get close to the shape. I keep checking what I'm doing just to be sure I'm on the right track. It's sometimes hard with patterns because if the pattern is to one side, it can give you a false impression that the shape is not even or even. Okay, I think I can take that over, put it on the dop stick so I can finish it off. Now you notice what I've done here is I've tried to square up these sides because I want to roll the dome over from this edge, so it's going to be easier to, basically easier to set in a bezel setting. Actually, before I go and dop it up, I'm going to take a bit more of the material off, a bit less work later on. Okay, I'll go and dop that up. So the first thing I'll do here is just check the top is reasonably level and then go around and get an even chamfer all the way around the cab. Once the chamfer's done, I just need to correct the shape slightly. Then I progressively add chamfers over the top of the dome. And once I've got all the chamfers right, I'll continually rotate the cab, trying to move those edges between the facets to get a nice dome shape. When that's all done, the cab goes into the kiln for a final fire polish. It's the next day and the cab is out of the kiln and it has been nicely fire polished. As you can see here, it's retained its shape and there's a nice polish all over. As I promised, I will now compare this to another cab that hasn't been hand cut. If you, and hopefully you can see as I hold these side by side that the hand cut one on the left has a nice curve to it and won't require a very high bezel or prong setting to hold it in place, whereas the one on the right, which hasn't been hand cut, you can see you would need a bezel maybe twice or even more the height to hold the cab in place. So you can see why I hand cut these cabochons. There's just no other way that I know of to get a cabochon to fit a standard size bezel or a prong setting. Obviously, if you're just going to glue on a bail on the back, you don't have to do this. But if you want to put it into settings that you can buy off the shelf, you will have to do this to get it to the size that you want. If you want to watch more videos, you'll find some up here and down here. And please subscribe, much appreciated. And until the next video, I'll say bye for now.